So we talked about the construction of the supports for a stair. Let's look in a little bit more detail at the properties of the run object in a stair. And we're looking at, in particular, at the properties of the assembled stairs run. So when you look at the type properties for your stair, we talked about the supports here. So this one's got the HSS 4x10 tubes on the sides. Now we have the run type. So here, under the construction heading, we've got our run type. 2-inch tread, 1-inch nosing, 1/4-inch riser. So just like in the project browser, we've got the supports in their own folder. The same goes for the run. Now, if I go into stairs down here and I choose non-monolithic run, there it is right there. So you can edit or define a new run for your stairs without even having the stair tool active. So I can double click on my non-monolithic run here right now and start making changes to it. Now, moments ago, we were inside the stairs type properties, so the type properties for the stair overall. And I can drill down to editing my run's definition by hitting the little button here. So here you can see it brings up the 2-inch tread, 1-inch nosing, 1/4-inch riser. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So here's this dialog box, which I got through the stairs dialog. But I can get at it directly in the project browser. Same dialog. So it doesn't matter how you get to it. So with the definition of the run, you can define the thickness of the tread. Now remember, the depth of the tread, that comes from your stairs type properties. So here, all we can do is define the thickness of the tread itself. The nosing's length, so usually it's 1 inch. That's just, it is what it is. It's usually 1 inch, or you don't have a nosing at all. And then your nosing profile, if you choose to have one. So for most wood stairs, we don't bother with having a nosing profile. So in the list here, we'll just switch this to default. And by switching it to default, you get a rectangular tread. Now, if you are having a stair pan at the front of the stair, so that would be typically a concrete filled stair. So here we could go back and pick that metal nosing at the front of the stair. You guys could go into the profiles folder and see what that looks like. And then for our tread material, we'd be able to choose a different material here up at the top. So if we wanted to use concrete, we could put that in as our tread material. Now for the riser, same thing. If you want to make a different shape for your riser other than rectangular, you can define it here. So if you want to have kind of a sculpted piece for the riser at the back of the tread, this is where you would define it. The only problem with using a riser profile on your stairs is that you'll define a riser profile of a certain size, and of course your stair rise is going to vary from stair to stair, so you have to make a separate riser profile for each particular stair rise. So yeah, again, you can define the thickness of the riser. 1/4-inch would be fine for steel. I'd probably do something like half an inch for a wood stair. So here, if I'm making this a wood stair, so what I would do is I'll rename this and I'll call it a 2x tread 1/2-inch riser. So here I'm specifying that I'm using a 2x tread, like it could be a 2x10 or a 2x12. So my tread thickness here will be 1.5 inches, and there will be no nosing profile, so it's just going to be a rectangular shape. So I've got 1.5 inch thick treads, and at the back of the tread I've got a 1/2 inch thick riser. Not super critical for code compliance or even for your drawings, but now you folks know how it's made. So as soon as I change the name here, you folks can see in the project browser that it's changed the tread definition there as well. Okay, so that is page 4. Page 5 talks about the defining the stringers and carriages, which we have done. We talked about structural depth on landing and structural depth on run and defining the stringers. One last thing here before you guys have an exercise to do. Page 6. Now, in your drawings, when you have placed your stairs and you want to indicate where your risers are located so that your plan checker and you yourself can confirm the number of risers that's in your flight of stairs. So on the Annotate tab, we've got the tread number tool. Now, it says tread number on the tool, and then in the tooltip it says tread or riser number. So we're more interested in creating riser numbers, but this is the tool that we use to start that off. So click the tread number tool, and you'll notice that in the properties palette, it's going to tag the risers. Now, here now we can choose where the numbers are going to be placed, so you can place them at the middle or over at one side of our risers, and then you can choose where you want the numbers to sit. So I like to put them centered so that they sit right over top of the riser, and just go ahead and click and place them, and you can see that Revit numbers all of your risers for you. Unfortunately, as it notes in our text here in our handout, you can't change the font. It's just Arial. So, I mean, things could be worse. It could be Comic Sans. But it would be nice if we were able to change the font that's used here. So perhaps in a future version of Revit they will allow that. For now, it is what it is. Now, what you folks are going to do is just as we did earlier here, so you're just going to do this for record keeping. On the bottom of page 6 here, we've got an exercise on creating a steel stair by putting in the stringer. So create that stair using the architectural template, and then when you're done, hand that in to your sharing folder.